For decades, RadioShack was a household name and the go-to store for tech enthusiasts, hobbyists, and everyday consumers who needed anything from batteries and cables to radios and computer parts. RadioShack had you covered if you were looking for an obscure electronic component or a last-minute gadget. It was more than just a retail store. It was a part of American culture. At its peak, RadioShack boasted over 7,000 stores across the U.S., making it one of the largest electronics retailers in the country. It earned a reputation as a one-stop shop for all things tech. However, despite its strong brand presence and decades of success, RadioShack struggled to keep pace with the rapidly changing retail and technology landscape. After several years of financial issues, the company filed for bankruptcy, not once, but twice. First in 2015 and again in 2017. The company had too many stores that competed against each other, leading to losses. RadioShack failed to adapt and stay relevant as most electronic sales shifted online, leaving the retailer confined to brick-and-mortar locations only. Today, only a handful of locations remain, a mere shadow of what the company once was. So, what went wrong? How did a retail giant that once dominated the electronics industry collapse so dramatically? Poor business decisions, increased competition, and changing consumer habits contributed to RadioShack's downfall. In this video, we will explore the reasons behind RadioShack's failure and how one of the most iconic tech retailers lost its way. One of the main reasons for RadioShack's decline was the changing landscape of consumer electronics shopping. In the 1980s and 1990s, if you needed a new gadget or a replacement part for your computer, you would visit a store like RadioShack. But by the 2000s, everything changed. With the emergence of online retailers like Amazon and Newegg, customers no longer need to visit physical stores for tech products. They can compare prices, read reviews, and have items shipped directly to their homes with just a few clicks. RadioShack struggled to compete with these online giants due to an outdated website, slow shipping options, and often higher prices than those offered online. Relying exclusively on its brick-and-mortar sales network, RadioShack began to face significant pressure on its profitability and sales as consumers increasingly turned to online retailers such as Amazon and eBay for electronics parts and gadgets. As a result, many consumers found RadioShack to be irrelevant. They could purchase any electronic component more cheaply with just a click and have it delivered anywhere in the United States. Additionally, many customers complained about the lack of inventory at RadioShack, making it even less likely that they would choose to shop there again. At the same time, big box retailers such as Best Buy and Walmart began selling the same tech products as RadioShack, often at lower prices. Unlike RadioShack, these stores had more extensive selections, better inventory management, and stronger brand loyalty. As a result, more customers began purchasing their electronics from Amazon, Best Buy, and Walmart instead of visiting RadioShack. Despite changing consumer habits, RadioShack failed to adapt. The company clung to its outdated business model rather than modernizing its approach. RadioShack built its reputation selling items like radios, remote controls, and cables. However, as technology evolved, many of these products became less relevant or obsolete. People no longer needed radio parts because they shifted to streaming services and smartphones. The demand for batteries and cables declined as more devices became wireless or rechargeable. Customers increasingly purchased phones and computers directly from manufacturers instead of through third-party retailers like RadioShack. Despite these changes, RadioShack did not adjust its inventory to focus on more in-demand products. This failure led to declining sales and reduced foot traffic in stores. At its peak, RadioShack had over 7,000 stores, which was excessive. Many of these locations were too close to one another, resulting in competition within the same brand. Instead of prioritizing quality and efficiency, RadioShack expanded too aggressively, opening stores in areas where they were unnecessary. As sales declined, these additional stores became a significant financial burden. RadioShack attempted to rebrand itself multiple times, but none succeeded. In the 2000s, the company shifted its focus to selling cell phones, partnering with carriers like Verizon and AT&T. However, this strategy was ineffective because customers preferred to buy phones directly from their carriers or online. Later, RadioShack tried redesigning its stores to attract younger shoppers, but this also failed. The company did not understand what modern consumers truly wanted. Instead of innovating and adapting to new technological trends, RadioShack relied on short-term fixes that failed to address its long-term issues. Historically, one of RadioShack's primary sources of revenue came from selling accessories like chargers, adapters, and headphones. However, as smartphones became more advanced, this revenue stream declined significantly. Advancements in wireless technology meant that fewer people needed adapters and cables. Moreover, smartphones replaced multiple devices, eliminating the need for digital cameras, radios, and alarm clocks. The rise of online shopping also offered cheaper alternatives for accessories, making RadioShack's higher prices less attractive to consumers. The company struggled with declining customer traffic and sales. After years of dwindling revenue, RadioShack filed for bankruptcy in 2015. It closed thousands of stores and attempted to restructure, but these efforts proved insufficient. In 2017, RadioShack filed for bankruptcy again, resulting in the closure of even more locations. The brand was eventually sold to investors who attempted to revive it, but the damage had already been done. Only a few RadioShack locations remain, and the brand is primarily an online retailer. This is a far cry from the tech empire it once was. RadioShack's downfall was not caused by a single mistake. Instead, it resulted from a combination of poor decisions and a changing retail landscape. RadioShack, in its original form, failed to adapt to the market changes brought about by the internet and made several poor business decisions, ultimately leading to its bankruptcy in 2015 and the closure of the business. In 2023, the company was purchased by Unicomer Group, a firm based in El Salvador, and was subsequently relaunched. It now operates both online and through physical stores. Some of the key reasons RadioShack failed are that the rise of e-commerce made online shopping more convenient than visiting physical stores, and big-box retailers like Best Buy and Walmart offered better pricing and a wider selection of products. An outdated business model prevented the company from adapting to new market trends. Overexpansion resulted in too many stores, leading to high operating costs. The increasing prevalence of smartphones has reduced the demand for accessories and other tech products. The collapse of RadioShack serves as a warning to all businesses: adapt or face obsolescence. Companies must pay attention to market trends, listen to their consumers, and embrace technology to survive. Had RadioShack modernized its stores, enhanced its online presence, and focused on innovation, it might still thrive today. Unfortunately, it failed to keep up with the changing times and ultimately paid the price for its inaction. For many people, RadioShack will always be a nostalgic part of tech history, but its downfall reminds us that no company is immune to failure. RadioShack's downfall primarily stems from its failure to innovate and adapt. Once recognized as an industry pioneer, the company lost its innovative edge and allowed competitors to outpace it in technology, market strategy, and customer experience. Let us know your thoughts on this video, and please subscribe for more content. Thank you.